The reason why people like Dow Constantine have contributed to the downfall of a once great city, a once great county, and a once great state is because they live in la land. They live in a little imaginary universe where they pretend that they're doing a good job, and they're really not. And not only do they lie to themselves, they lie to all of us.
One widely held belief is that behavioral health issues like untreated mental health or substance use disorders are root causes of the homelessness crisis that we see all around us. This is wrong. University of Washington researcher Greg Colburn has shown that the cause of the homelessness phenomenon is not individual challenges, but a housing market failure. One factor distinguishing places with high homelessness from places with low homelessness is not the prevalence of addiction or untreated mental health problems or the availability of public assistance or the weather or even poverty. The one critical difference is whether there are enough housing units to match the number of people who need homes. If not, somebody, usually the person with the least money or the greatest burdens, loses out and ends up on the streets.
I give up. I cannot believe that. I mean, I can, but at this point, it's a universally accepted reality, near universally accepted reality, that people aren't living in filth and squalor with needles in their arm on our streets because there just weren't enough houses to go around. And this is even more unhinged than the usual line of this is a housing crisis. Because what he says is it's not even because of poverty. It's because, think of how simplistic his mind is. We have this many homes. Then there are this many people. And the people who don't get into these homes, the only thing left for them to do is sleep on the streets in a tent. No, if you can't find a home, or you can't afford a home, you go somewhere else where you can find a home, where you can find a place to rent, where you can afford a place to rent. You don't pitch a tent in a city park and start injecting heroin or fentanyl in between your toesies. How is this? That is the man who's in charge of King County and has been for more than a decade. I don't know how to properly articulate how unhinged and dangerous and sad and scary that is.
One widely held belief is that behavioral health issues like untreated mental health or substance use disorders are root causes of the homelessness crisis that we see all around us. This is wrong.
You need to spend all of 10 seconds in a homeless camp actually trying to talk to people who are homeless, Dow, to find out that they're either mentally ill, drug addicted, or both. They didn't move to Seattle one day trying to buy a house. Oh, can't find a house. I guess I'll pitch a tent in Denny Park. For the love of God, you moron. I don't like to name call on the show, but you absolute asshat. People are dying. And your lack of willingness to assess, what have I said over and over? What have I said over and over? You cannot trust someone to solve a problem that they refuse to properly identify. Dow Constantine could try to solve homelessness for 150 years, and he would never be able to do it because he's solving for the wrong problem. Intentionally. How insane is that? Oh, we're not done yet. Let's see. He's bragging about some of the work they've done related to addiction.
In January, we opened a new 24/7 hotline thanks to a partnership with UW Medicine, Public Health, and DCHS. Anyone can now call to get a prescription to treat opioid use disorder. In its first 4 months, the hotline provided 200 prescriptions. We also distributed more than 38,000 life-saving naloxone kits and almost 30,000 test strips just in the first quarter of this year.
You're bragging about that? Let me do the math again. So in the first quarter of this year, only 200 people took you up on the opportunity to get a drug to help wean them off their addiction. 200 people. Like, good, great. 200 is great. I'd rather have 200 than 0 who want to take a medication to help deal with their substance abuse issue, to help fight it and get past it. But compare that to 30,000 who wanted a free test strip to make sure their drugs were pure. Or 38,000 who knew they were going to keep doing drugs, or their buddies were, so they wanted an naloxone kit so they could bring them back to life so then they could do drugs again. So success for you, Dow, is 200 people who took you up on an offer to get help fighting their drug addiction, 30,000 people who just wanted a test strip to make sure their drugs were pure, that they got what they thought they were getting from their drug dealer, and 38,000 people who are going to drug themselves to death, revive themselves, and then drug themselves to death again and do it all over. You guys, vote. You have to vote different. You have to vote different. We can't keep doing this. This is stupid. That's utter stupidity. That's utter stupidity. There is no ideology, there's no single issue that could justify continuing to vote for people like Dow Constantine over someone who has a brain and common sense.